Morning, guys. Let us start with the revision of the chapter Java programming. In the Java programming section, we have to start with the basic what is Java. So what is Java? Java is a high-level object-oriented programming system. Now, object-oriented high-level and object-oriented programming system. You have some knowledge of Java previously, of programming languages previously, like you had learned about QBasic, Logo, etc. Now, what is the difference between those programming system and Java? Those programming systems were termed as procedural programming. Now, what is procedural programming? In procedural programming, what happens? There are certain points to be discussed, and number one is we can say executes from first line till the end, which we also say it as top down approach. Means the program starts from the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, and thus this way it goes on execute and stops at the end. This we say procedural programming language. The second point is it emphasizes on procedure rather than data. Now, what is procedure and what is data? Suppose you want to submit the fees in office. So the procedure is to fill up the form, submit the form in the counter, and then you get a receipt out of it. This we can say procedure of submitting the fee. Then what is data in that case? In that case, the data is the money. The money what you are submitting is the data. And filling up the form, submitting the form in the counter, and all those are under procedures. Now, think of the situation of submitting the fee. Which one is important? Is the filling up the form is important or the money is important? Obviously, most of you will agree, or better to say all of you will agree that the money is important. Even if we had lost the fee book, we can anyhow say to the office or ask the miss to submit the money without filling the form. And the school counter will obviously accept that. So the data is important, not the procedure. Now, what happens in case of object-oriented programming? In object in object-oriented programming, what happens? Number one, it emphasizes on data. Number one, and number two is it follows a bottom-up approach. Now, what is bottom-up approach? For you at this stage, it is difficult to understand what is a bottom-up approach because I don't think you had learnt about the procedures in class 6 or 7. Now, in standard 8, it is difficult. What happens? Just try to understand. It may not be very clear to you at this point of time. In object-oriented programming, the program starts somewhere else, and according to the need, the program may move upward or downward. It generally starts from the lower section of the program, then it refers to the upper section, and then it can again move to the lower section of the program. This is quite not understandable by you people because there is a lot of things to understand further. Later on, we'll discuss about them. What does actually it means a bottom-up approach? Now, in the previous classes, we had discussed about class. Now, what is a class? A class is a collection of similar type of objects having common characteristics and behaviors. Having some common characteristics and behaviors. Now, what is this? Let us take an example of this. Now, think of dogs. Dog is a particular kind of animal, and there are different breeds of dogs. And every dog has certain properties. They have a certain color, they have a certain face design, they have certain kind of length of hairs, certain length of the tail, and certain things. They all belong to the dog category or dog kingdom. Now, we can say all the dogs, they belongs to a class dog. But if you have a dog or pet dog, that pet dog has a particular name. That name is particular to that particular pet, not all the dogs. So we can say A class is a collection of common characteristics, objects having common characteristics and behavior. Let's take another example of pen. All the pens they used to write on paper. If they don't write on paper, can we say them a pen? Obviously not. Although we say them a pen, but it is not usable. All the pens have certain color, certain kind of ink, but the properties are same. They have to write on paper. They have to leave some mark on paper. Unless they leave the marks on paper, they are useless. Then comes object. So what is an object? Object is an identifiable having some characteristics and behavior. BA. Yeah. An identifiable entity having some characteristics and behavior. For example, I already gave you the example of pen as a class. So all the pens belong to the pen class, but the pen which you uses, that is a particular object. Because there may be, when you went to buy that particular pen, you may have seen a number of pens in the store, but you had chosen that particular pen. Why you had chosen that particular pen? Because the color may be attractive, the lighting may be very fine, or something what is according to your expectation that you had chosen. That means you was interested in that particular characteristics of the pen, particular behavior of the pen, but all the pens you had seen in the store, they are pens, belong to the class pen, but you had chosen a particular one. For you, that particular one, what you had chosen is an object. Rest, you are not interested in them. So, if what is an object? It is an identifiable entity having some characteristics and behavior about which an individual or an organization is interested. Unless someone is interested in a particular object, it is not an object. Unless someone or an organization is interested, it is not an object. It remains a member of a particular class. For example, I can elaborate you in a better way. I had given the example in the previous class section also. A piece of stone, a stone chip, when it is lying on the or just been thrown outside, or you see it in the ground or on the road, you just kick it or don't even bother about it. But when you buy up some stone chips for building, then one single piece of stone chip is also important for you, because at that time the stone chip is something in which you are interested. But when the same kind of stone chip was just lying on the road, you hardly bother about it because at that time you are not interested in that particular stone chip. So it is not an object for you, but when you bought it for building purpose, that is an object for you. So hopefully it is clear that what is an object. An object is something about which someone is interested. Unless someone is interested, it is not an object. Now, while programming, not in standard 8, we will understand about object and class clearly in standard 9 and later. Now we are here in to discuss about some other things like compiler. Now, what is a compiler? A program converts the a program that converts a high-level language program to low-level language after removing all the errors. Unless all the errors are removed, the compiler do not convert the language or the program to machine understandable code written by you. Similarly, there is another one which we call interpreter. What is interpreter? A program same. It is a program which converts a high-level language to low-level language line by line. One line is converted, executed, and then the second line is attempted. But in a compiler, the whole program needs to be converted at once, only after removing all the errors. So that's all for today. This session will discuss about carry on our discussion in the next session.